What if I told you that a simple act of kindness in the back of a limousine could rewrite royal history forever? Picture this: a snowy Brooklyn street, a broken-down luxury car, and two people from completely different worlds about to discover that love doesn't read bank statements or care about bloodlines. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you treated every person you met like they could change your life? Most of us judge by appearances, make assumptions based on jobs or zip codes. But what if, just what if, the person sitting across from you held the key to your destiny? Tonight, I'm sharing a story that will make you question everything you think you know about fate, love, and the power of genuine human connection. This is the incredible, true-inspired tale of Darnell Campbell, a man who went from driving the wealthy elite through Manhattan traffic to walking down royal wedding aisles as a prince. If you believe love conquers all barriers, hit that like button right now, because you're about to witness proof that sometimes the most extraordinary destinies are written in the most ordinary moments. Darnell Campbell's alarm buzzed at 4:30 a.m. every single day. Not because he wanted to greet the sunrise, but because supporting his widowed mother and chipping away at family debts meant embracing every opportunity that came his way. By 6 a.m., he was polishing the chrome on luxury limousines, preparing to chauffeur New York's elite to their glamorous destinations. For 3 years, Darnell had perfected the art of invisible service. He knew exactly when to raise a petition for privacy, which routes avoided construction, and how to pretend he couldn't hear the secrets shared in his backseat. Celebrities, business moguls, politicians, they all treated him like expensive furniture that happened to drive. But here's what made Darnell different. He refused to let anyone's status change how he treated them. Whether driving a billionaire CEO or a nervous first-time client, he offered the same genuine smile, the same respectful conversation, the same level of care. His mother had raised him with a simple philosophy: treat every person like they matter because they do. Most nights, Darnell would return to their modest Queens apartment, count his tips, and dream of better days. He'd listen to his passengers' stories of boardroom victories and charity galas, catching glimpses of a world that felt as distant as the moon. He never imagined that world was about to become his reality. Comment below if you know someone who works multiple jobs for family, because what happens next proves that character truly is destiny. December 15 started like any other Tuesday. Darnell received his assignment: transport European diplomatic delegation from JFK Airport to a high-profile dinner at the Plaza Hotel. VIP service, multiple vehicles, and strict protocols. Nothing unusual, except for the unexpected passenger who would change everything. Princess Vivian of Valdoria stepped into Darnell's limousine with none of the entitlement he expected from royalty. While her security team maintained stoic silence, she immediately turned to Darnell with genuine curiosity. "I hope you don't mind conversation," she said, her accent carrying warmth instead of authority. "I've been stuck in meetings all day, and I'd love to hear about real New York from someone who actually lives here." Most of his passengers never acknowledged his existence. But Princess Vivian asked about his favorite neighborhoods, laughed at his stories about navigating Manhattan traffic, and shared surprisingly down-to-earth anecdotes about growing up in a small European castle that always smelled like old books and her grandmother's perfume. "You know," she confided as they crawled through midtown traffic, "I was raised by my grandmother after my parents died. She taught me that titles don't make you noble, how you treat people does." Darnell found himself genuinely engaged in conversation with royalty, discussing everything from jazz music to the best pizza spots in Brooklyn. For 30 minutes, it didn't matter that she wore a tiara-worthy diamond necklace and he wore a chauffeur's uniform. They were simply two people connecting over shared stories and genuine laughter. But as they approached the plaza, Mother Nature decided to test them both. The first snowflakes started falling just as they reached Fifth Avenue. Within minutes, what began as a gentle dusting transformed into a full-blown December blizzard. That's when Darnell heard the sound every driver dreads, the engine sputtering, coughing, then dying completely. "I'm so sorry, Your Highness," Darnell said, his professional composure masking his panic. "Let me call for another vehicle immediately." But Princess Vivian surprised him again. "First, it's just Vivian. Second, can you fix it?" "I can try, but you'll be late for your dinner, and in this weather." The dinner will wait. She was already reaching for her coat. Show me what needs to be done. And that's how Princess Vivian of Valdoria found herself kneeling in slush on a Brooklyn side street, holding a flashlight while Darnell worked under the hood of a broken limousine. Her designer dress was getting ruined. Snow was soaking through their clothes, but somehow they were both laughing. In my country, she said, shivering but smiling, they have 40 people fixing this while I sat in climate-controlled comfort. This is actually the most real thing I've done in months. Well, Darnell replied, tightening a loose connection, welcome to real New York. Population, everyone who doesn't give up when things get tough. The engine roared back to life, but something else had ignited that night. Two souls who'd found something genuine in each other despite every reason why they shouldn't fit together. Have you ever had a moment that changed everything? Share in the comments, because what happened next defied every rule about love, class, and destiny. Princess Vivian's diplomatic visit was scheduled to last 1 week. It stretched into 3 months of secret meetings, handwritten letters, and a love story that would have been impossible in any previous century. She'd slip away from royal protocols to meet Darnell at quiet coffee shops in Queens, where nobody recognized European royalty and everyone was too busy with their own lives to notice an unlikely couple falling in love over shared dreams and deep conversations. My grandmother always said I'd know real love because it would feel like coming home to myself, Vivian told him one evening as they walked through Central Park. I never understood what she meant until I met you. Darnell knew the impossibility of their situation. Viv, I drive cars for a living. You're literal royalty. There are protocols, expectations. There are also choices, she interrupted. And I choose you. But choices have consequences. When Vivian extended her stay indefinitely, the royal court back in Valdoria exploded. European tabloids caught wind of the scandal. Princess's mystery romance screamed headlines, followed by paparazzi photos and breathless speculation. The revelation of Darnell's identity sent shockwaves through aristocratic circles. A black American limousine driver? Dating their princess? The royal advisors were apoplectic. The press was ruthless. Social media erupted with opinions ranging from fairy tale romance to cultural outrage. Princess Vivian is destroying centuries of royal tradition for a fling with her driver, declared one particularly vicious commentary. This is what happens when royals forget their duty to their bloodline. Death threats arrived at Darnell's apartment. Photographers camped outside his mother's house. His employer, terrified of scandal, let him go. Everything Darnell had worked for seemed to crumble under the weight of loving someone the world said he couldn't have. But here's where the story gets really incredible, because Princess Vivian was just getting started fighting for their love. 3 months into media firestorm, Princess Vivian did something no royal had done in over 2 centuries. She called an international press conference to publicly defend her relationship, standing before cameras from around the world. Wearing her grandmother's sapphire brooch for strength, she delivered a speech that will be quoted for generations. I was raised to believe that nobility comes from birth, but I've learned that true nobility comes from character. Darnell Campbell has shown me more genuine kindness, integrity, and strength than any titled aristocrat I've ever met. If choosing love over protocol makes me unfit to be your princess, then perhaps it's time for royalty to evolve. The speech went viral instantly. #LoveOverProtocol trended worldwide. But more importantly, it gave Vivian the courage for her next move, bringing Darnell to Valdoria to meet her people. The royal court expected disaster. What they got was a master class in grace under pressure. Darnell didn't try to pretend he belonged in palaces. Instead, he brought his authentic self, asking thoughtful questions about Valdorian culture, listening to elderly advisors' stories, treating palace staff with the same respect he'd shown everyone his entire life. He doesn't know our ways, admitted one skeptical duchess after spending an afternoon with Darnell. But he understands our hearts. That's far more valuable than bloodline. Slowly, impossibly, Darnell won over people who'd sworn to oppose him, not through grand gestures or political maneuvering, but through the same genuine kindness that had first captured Vivian's attention in the back of a limousine. The European press began changing their tune. From scandal to inspiration, how love changed a kingdom, replaced the earlier hate-filled headlines. Public opinion shifted as people witnessed something powerful. Authentic love transcending artificial barriers. 18 months after that snowy night in Brooklyn, Darnell Campbell stood in the Cathedral of Aldoria, watching his mother walk down the aisle in a dress fit for royalty, tears of pride streaming down her face. Behind her came Princess Vivian, radiant in her grandmother's wedding gown, ready to make a limousine drive her prince. The ceremony was broadcast to over 1 billion people worldwide. But the real celebration happened 1 week later in Queens, where the couple held a second wedding that honored Darnell's roots, complete with his childhood friends, his mother's famous mac and cheese, and a jazz band that had him and Vivian dancing until dawn. Their marriage didn't just unite two people. It transformed a monarchy. Princess Vivian's defiance of tradition inspired other royals to modernize their approach to duty, love, and service. Young people across Valdoria saw proof that merit mattered more than birth, that love could indeed conquer artificial barriers. Darnell used his new platform to advocate for working families, establish scholarship programs for first-generation college students, and prove that sometimes the best leaders are those who've lived real struggles. His journey from Queens to Castle became a symbol of possibility for dreamers everywhere. But perhaps the most beautiful part of their story isn't the fairy tale ending. It's a lesson embedded in every moment, that how we treat others in ordinary circumstances can write extraordinary destinies. The limousine driver who treated a princess like a person became a prince who treats people like family. The princess who saw a character overclass became a queen who rules with her heart. Their love story reminds us that kindness is never wasted, dignity is always recognized, and sometimes the most important passenger in your life arrives when you least expect them. If this story inspired you to treat everyone with kindness, smash that subscribe button and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Because somewhere out there, your next act of genuine compassion might just be writing someone's fairy tale, including your own. And remember, love doesn't read bank statements, check bloodlines, or ask for permission. It simply asks for courage, kindness, and the faith to believe that extraordinary things happen to ordinary people who treat others extraordinarily well. What ordinary moment in your life might be writing an extraordinary destiny? Let me know in the comments below.